Hey there, my name is David, and I will be your Linode developer advocate for this video. In fact, this video is part of a series where we're putting together kind of a semi-self-hosted Docker infrastructure. Basically, we've got a Docker server set up on Linode, and we've just been kind of exploring different Docker containers that we can install on our Docker Linode and kind of build out a little, like I said, semi-self-hosted solution for whatever our needs happen to be. And in this video, we're going to take a look at a Pastebin clone called Lenpaste. So while I don't necessarily think you need to go back and watch all of the different videos in this series, of course, unless you want to, and unless you want to take a look at all of the different containers that we've looked at so far, I definitely encourage you to at least go back and take a look at the first video so that you can kind of be on the same page with the rest of us as we go through this video. Also, I encourage you to go down to the description where you'll find a link to head over to Linode and get $100 in free credit to try out their service free for 60 days. So with all of that out of the way, let's jump over to my desktop and take a look at Lenpaste. So as I mentioned, Lenpaste is basically like a Pastebin clone, and we can kind of see that here on this page. Of course, at the top, we've got the title, we've got an about section, a documentation section, and a settings section here. Below that, of course, we've got our place to put our title, a place to put in our code. We can decide what we want to, or what OS we want to base this on over here. And then below that, we've got different syntaxes that we can have it highlight automatically based on what we choose here. If we go all the way up to the top, we've got ABAP, I don't even know what that is, Action Script and Bash and C and C Sharp and C++ and Elm and Emacs, and the list just goes on and on and on. Primarily, my use case for this is YAML stuff for when I'm sharing Docker Compose stuff for other Docker containers to my viewers. So if we scroll all the way down, eventually we will find YAML right there. And of course, if we were to copy and paste a Docker Compose into here, it would highlight each of the different elements of that Docker Compose appropriately based on the syntax that we just entered here. Below that, we've got the option for burn after reading. We've got an expiration of how long do you want this to be on here before it auto expires. Below that, we've got some advanced parameters if you wanted to enter your author name, email, and your author URL. And of course, you can actually adjust these in the settings for your setup here. Once you've copied and pasted everything into here the way you want it, you can click Save, and then we end up with something that looks a lot like this. Of course, this is actually the Docker Compose for Lenpaste that we're going to take a look at actually deploying in Portainer here in a moment. But so basically up at the top, again, we've got the title. We can see what was used for the syntax and I believe the OS there. Here is our Docker Compose. We're going to modify this ever so slightly to follow kind of the format of previous Docker containers that we've looked at on this video series. And of course, below that, we've got the author information, when it was created and when it expires. Up here at the top, we've got some options for raw. If we click that, it's just going to give us that raw output of our paste here. If we go back, we can actually just download this as a YAML file that we can see in the bottom left-hand corner of my screen there. And if we wanted to, we could also embed this using an iframe if we wanted to share this in a different location. So it's a very, very simple container here. I love that it's open. You don't need an account to create a paste to share with somebody. It's just go in there, drop your code, share it, and you're done without all of the unnecessary bells and whistles that a lot of different systems out there have. So with that said, let's go ahead and get Lenpaste installed in Docker using Portainer. So I think the easiest thing to do here is actually just come back over to our paste here. We're just going to go ahead and copy that. Then we'll go over to Portainer. Of course, that will be going to the IP address of your Linode, tacking on port 9000, again, if you followed along with that first video, and logging into your Portainer instance. Once we're here, we'll go ahead and click on Stacks, and then we'll click on Add a Stack. We're just going to paste this in here. So at the top of our Docker Compose, we have a version 2. That's very standard. That's just what the developer decided to use there. And we do have a services listed under here. The only service that we're going to use for this installation is the actual Lenpaste. Below that, we've got an image. It looks like this developer has decided to not use hub.docker.com For whatever reason, they decided not to do that. But here we have the latest image available from the developer's source there. We've got a restart policy of always, meaning that if you have to reboot your server, this will automatically come back up. If for whatever reason Docker thinks it needs, or that there's an issue it needs to restart, it'll automatically restart your container. So just kind of a fail-safe to make sure things keep working as efficiently as possible with the least amount of interference from us should something go wrong. Below that, we've got some environment variables. We've got a Lenpaste address. That's going to be basically what port on the inside of the container do we want to use. In this case, we're going to use port 80. That's very standard. There's no need to change that. Below that, we've got a database driver. And this is going to use a SQLite 3 database. If you were thinking that this would end up being a very large installation with lots of users and that sort of thing, you might want to consider switching to something like Postgres or Maria if that's supported. But for a small single or just a situation where you're going to have 2 or 3 users or whatever, a SQLite database will be just fine for this. The next thing is, where do we want to store it? This one's kind of weird to me, but I believe the developer just needed a way to kind of put that into the configuration of the Docker container. So we're actually going to have this in there right here. The database cleanup is set to 3 hours. Basically, how often do you want this to kind of clean up any kind of unnecessary stuff in the background? Kind of an internal cron job, if you will. Do we want to... the next one is for allowing or disallowing robots. So like, I think search engine crawlers, robots and search engine crawlers, very similar. You can allow or disallow by changing the flag there. Below that, we've got a max length for the title and the body of your pastes. So if we actually come back and take a look here, we can see that like we've got a max length of our body of 10,000 characters. Up here in the title, it's not showing that, but it's 100 up here. If you wanted to, though, you could absolutely change those numbers to make your titles and pastes as short or as long as you want to for your setup there. I don't necessarily think you need to change this, but you can if you want to do that. The default max paste lifetime is set to never. Basically, how long do you want, or how long do you want to pass before it automatically deletes? I think never is probably safe there, because you can always change that later when you actually paste something in. The admin name and email address, of course, you'll want to change those to be your admin name and email address. Those are kind of the defaults that are in here. In fact, if we go to settings, it's under about, the admin name and email address are both right there. And that's what that is for, in case somebody needs to contact you or whatever. So that's what we've got for the admin name and email address there. We've got the first 3 of these. You can leave alone if you want to, or if you wanted to, like the database, I've never needed to uncomment that, so I wouldn't worry about it. But if you wanted to add some additional pages, like an about page and a rules page, you can uncomment these and have those show up as additional pages on the front end of your Lenpaste, so that you kind of got a terms of service, so to speak. Again, we're going to have a spot where we're going to store our information, and then we've got a couple of time zone related things here. First one being the time zone, the second one being the local time. Those are both, you see those every once in a while, just basically for synchronization purposes. That's basically all I've ever seen them used for. Below that, we've got some ports. In this case, ports. It originally was 8080, 80 on this side, 80 on that side. I changed it to 8438 and then 80. And we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. It doesn't really matter for the sake of how we're going to deploy this using NGINX Proxy Manager, but it's there to keep it from conflicting with any of the other containers on your Docker server. And then below that, we've got a network. Again, in the original video, we set up NGINX Proxy Manager, and the network that was created was NGINX Proxy Manager _default, and that's how we're going to attach this to that network, just for easier deployment of domain names and SSLs and things like that. And then below that, we actually, because we're using this network, we actually had to declare that network already exists by saying that it's an external network. So that's kind of what's going on there. Once we've got all of this set up the way we want to, we can scroll down and click on deploy the stack. We'll give this a couple of minutes to do its thing and pull all of its resources and deploy. In the meantime, while it's doing that, let's actually go back over to our Linode dashboard so that we can get a domain name set up for this, so that Linode knows what to do when a domain name is requested of it. Okay, so here we are on our Linode dashboard, and what we want to do is actually come over to the left hand side here and click on domains. Again, earlier on in this video series, we attached domains to this, and that's what we're going to take a look at here. For this tutorial, we're going to use tutorialserver.xyz. That's the one that's attached to this specific Linode IP address. So we're going to click here. We're going to scroll down. We're going to add an A record right here. And we'll just click that, and then we're gonna call this code, and then we're gonna enter 45.79.14.131. Of course, you'll enter the IP address of your Linode for this, but all of this should be fine. So we can click save, and right here we can see code and the IP address of our Linode setup here. So that's all we need to do in order to get the Linode side of things configured for our domain name. So now that we've got our domain name configured on Linode, our next step will be to get NGINX Proxy Manager, or reverse proxy, configured to work with that domain name as well. So what we're going to do is head over to there. It's going to be our IP address and then port 81 to get to our dashboard, and we'll get logged in with the username and password that we set up when we configured this originally. So now that we're logged in, what we want to do is actually come over to SSL certificates. We're going to click add an SSL certificate, and we're going to say, let's encrypt. And then our domain name, we're going to go ahead and type in code.tutorialserver.xyz and hit enter. Of course, you'll enter your subdomain and domain, not mine. And then we're going to click test server reachability. And sometimes this happens. Sometimes it just takes it a minute for the DNS to propagate so that we can actually get to that with this. So we're just going to wait a minute and come back and try this again.
A few moments later.
Okay, so after just a moment of waiting, here we've tried it again, and it says your server is reachable and creating certificates should be possible. So sometimes it's just a DNS thing, and we got to wait a few minutes for those DNS changes to resolve. So now that we've got this, we can click close. We've got our email address here. Make sure that that is correct for you. And once you've got that, you can click I agree, as long as you agree to their terms of service, and then you can click save. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is go over here to hosts, go to proxy hosts. We're going to add a proxy host, and we're going to put in that IP or that domain name again and hit enter. Our scheme is going to be HTTP. That's because the actual Docker container itself doesn't have an SSL built into it. If it did, we would switch this HTTP to HTTPS, but because it doesn't have an SSL built into it, we're just going to use HTTP. Our forward hostname and IP. So basically, if we take a look, we can actually see that all of these are 172.18.4 18.0 dot something, not the actual IP address of our Linode. And that's because we've attached all of these different containers to the same Docker network, just for easier compatibility and communication between the containers, whatever container we're working with, and NGINX Proxy Manager. So what we want to do then is actually come back to Portainer, find our Lenpaste container here, and the IP address over here associated with it. So we're just going to copy that and go back over to here. We're going to paste that in there, make sure there's no additional spaces or anything. And then our forward port is actually, in this case, going to be the internal port, which is on the right side of the colon of our container. In this case, it's port 80. So we're going to come back over to here. We're going to put in port 80 right there. We can go ahead and cache assets, enable the WebSocket support, and block common exploits. Those are all perfectly fine to do. And then up here at the top, we'll click on SSLs. We're going to go find our code.tutorialserver.xyz. We're going to go ahead and check all these boxes just, again, for an additional level of security here, and click save. And then right up here, we've got code.tutorialserver.xyz.
A few moments later.
So at first you noticed I had an error message there and saying that the domain name hadn't resolved. And again, that was a DNS issue. And what I did to fix that was I just connected to a different IP address using a VPN on my computer, my local computer here. Once I connected to that new IP address and it changed my DNS, then I was able to refresh this page and go to code.tutorialserver.xyz. And now our container is up and running just that quickly and easily easily. So now we've got our own Pastebin clone that we can share code snippets and things like that. We can have our friends share code snippets and that sort of thing. So I absolutely love Lenpaste for what they've done here, just how easy this is to set up and use. Of course, there should be links to everything in the description down below. Of course, while you're down in the description, be sure to click the link to get $100 in free credit from Linode to check out their service free for 60 days. But I think with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for spending a few minutes of your day with me today, and I will talk to you in the next video.